So the thing that I was really interested in, specifically with Naked, was the shot where Johnny is kind of prowling around between the kitchen and the living room before he kind of leaves the house at the kind of the after about 30-minute mark. I was just thinking about your process, and obviously it's not just the actors who are creating it, and I think maybe there's a perception that you just let the actors do their thing and then film that, but obviously you're creating and you design that shot. And I just remember reading that and thinking, wow, that's the other way round to the way that it's sometimes perceived. You've got this shot and you now choreograph the action by the characters.
Yes, I mean, anything I now say in the context of this, in the context of this question, is now, given that 1917 now exists, so, which is a film entirely designed around one shot, really. That was the kind of joke, but nobody laughed, so therefore, by definition, it wasn't a joke. Look, if you've got really, by the time I get to that stage, you've got actors who are absolutely rock solid in the characters. You've got the whole situation. You've done endless amounts of work in the location and all that stuff beforehand. So they know you can construct anything really. So with a thing like that, we've worked up something that motivates following him to there and him back into there and her into there and into there, and that is a construction. But you can be as distilled, as specific, as formulaic, if you want to use that word slightly wrongly, as you like, provided you're not making the actors do something that doesn't feel right to them, that isn't motivated. But as long as it works in terms of and I can't remember at all what the improvisations were that preceded the construction of that scene, but without question, Johnny would be prowling around because he was about to fuck off out of it, and that's what it's about. So it's taking that and putting it into an ordered, organised way. But that's what we all do. That is what filmmaking is, really.
Well, the other thing that I remember, so I watched most of your work again over the last week or two, but I do remember having a very strong sense memory of watching Naked when it first came out. And the thing that I really took away from it was the kind of the similarity or maybe correlation between the opening and closing shots. And I just remember being very taken or impacted by both of them. And then reading that the closing shot was the one that it took you quite a long time to find, and like you doing it on Steadicam and that kind of thing.
Well, what's interesting. What's interesting about it is that it's not just about the shot. It's about we couldn't decide how the film should end, because I very often shot the whole. We'll make it up as we go along. Really, in the end. Although I do write a kind of broad structure before we start, at the end of the rehearsal, before we start shooting, but it's just got no dialogue in it, it's just a sort of premise, really. But still, that document very often gets to a point where it says, the rest, we can't put anything else down, we don't know what's going to happen. And we didn't know quite how to resolve that.
Does that mean you get to a certain point in the story where you don't have any further?
Yeah, but then we simply go back into rehearsal again, which we've been doing throughout the shoot, and we develop it and sort it out. It was a question, if you remember the film, as to what Johnny should do. Should he go back to Manchester with his girlfriend, with Louise? What should happen? And with David Thewlis, it was his situation and his attitude and his motivation was so ambivalent, so complex, that there were any number of options. And I, obviously, it was for me to sort of make some kind of decision, but I couldn't. And every day I drove to the location, which was in Dalston, from North London, Wood Green, and drove down this road, and the house was rather gothic. The house which we shot in, the building where the flat was in this flat. There it was at the end of the street, dominating the street, and but I'd drive down listening to Radio 4, going in to get breakfast in the school where the unit base was and all that. And I'm just seeing it and not taking any notice. And then one day I suddenly saw it. I thought, oh, I know what. I just saw the image of him hobbling down the street because he'd injured his foot, his leg he'd been attacked. So that image then fed back into deciding and working with David to decide what action should happen psychologically and therefore dramatically. But so in other words, but the cinematic image was integral to the actual decision about what actually happens. And of course, it ends. It finally freezes, and that's the end of the film. Once we got that, of course, it seemed that was the only possible, inevitable way it could possibly end.
I saw a nice interview that Will Self did with you. You had a chat with him, and you were talking about the idea that Johnny was not a cynic; he was a frustrated idealist, and I was quite taken with that as a.
I think that's important. I mean, when the film came out, everybody said, "Oh, it's a cynical film. It's a misogynist film, and he's a cynic." He is a frustrated idealist. It occurred to me a long time later that he and Poppy, as in Sally Hawkins' character in Happy Go Lucky, are really very close to each other in a sense. Both are idealists. Both have a great sense of humour, a great sense of irony, but the difference is that his idealism is frustrated. He's disappointed with the world, and he's gone in on himself. Yeah. And she, in fact, embraces it, and it makes her behave in a positive way. But I think, it's interesting to reflect, and no, I'm not going to make this film, as to how they would get on.
Find us at nodirectionhome.com.